All right, for tonight's reading, I'm wearing my Invader Zim shirt. The movie was very disappointing to me. I didn't even finish the movie, and yet I loved the series. Apparently, apparently, if you draw it out over a full movie, it's not that funny. Great series, though, right? So, in the midst of all of this carnage and chaos, I know this is being posted late tonight. I apologize for that. Just I restructured my day around some of the news was going on, and just we had the long live stream, so it's a bit later putting it together. Let me turn this light down so I don't look so much like I'm a ghost. Yeah, that's better. Because the light that I have that's off camera, um, if I don't turn it down at night, I look even paler, as if that's possible. So where did we leave off? We left off at chapter 8. How far are we going to get into? Is it only 2 scenes? No, it's more than that. Yeah, it's more than that. Yeah, because I was thinking the scenes get a little shorter as you get towards the end of the book because there's more going on. So, right. Um, and then yeah, somebody asked how many chapters there are. There's 13 chapters overall in the first part. That's chapter 13, and then it goes into chapter 1 of the second part. All right. So there we go. Kabam! And she's there. What, I paused, and then when I unpaused, you're right there.
Oh, you
So
had
it's
already started
magic.
this?
Yeah,
You
just a preamble.
To not tell me.
Just a preamble. And then start the book. Katie's sitting on her couch trying to listen to music to calm her nerves, knowing that Mike is involved in a mission which could see him interacting directly with a species that doesn't have any qualms about killing him, has her more stressed than his usual assignments do. The music's on loud, and it's harsh music too. She needs angry music when she's stressed to help her work through this. If only the music was working today, but she knows it isn't. The doorbell rings loud enough for her to hear it, and she turns the music down while she slowly makes her way to the front door. Maybe her music's bothering the neighbors, and she'll find them at her door with burning torches and pitchforks. Instead, she finds General Kale rightly there. She might have preferred the angry neighbors to this snake oil salesman. General, what's the reason for this visit? She asks as she reluctantly motions him into her home. Kale rightly steps in and looks around at the decor in Mike's home. As he might have expected, there are various knickknacks and pictures adorning the walls. The home is painted shades of light blue and red. It doesn't look very military to him. There's no way he would have allowed his wife to decorate his home in this manner. The judgmental looks are spotted by her right away. She could have predicted that he would have had this reaction. She decides to ignore it and heads towards the kitchen. Would you like a coffee? She asks in as pleasant a manner as she can manage under these circumstances. Kale remains standing rather than sit in the powder blue kitchen on the powder blue colored couch, as if it might damage his manhood. I'm not here for a visit, really. I'm here to talk to you about your husband. Katie returns from the kitchen with a coffee in her hand for herself. Well, I'll have one myself then. I'd figured that this was about Mike since you never visited our home before. I'm not sure what you're expecting from me in person that you couldn't have asked me for over the phone, she says as she sits down on her comfy and pretty couch. She revels in Kale's discomfort with his surroundings. This is true. You see, your husband has some wild ideas which could honestly disturb the balance in this galaxy. He may take these wild ideas and send Falteries down the road to war. Our alliances are important to me as they should be to you. Once they're broken, there may be no going back. If I can prevent that, I will, and that's where I need your help, he says, pointing at her as if he's trying to recruit her for the Force. She laughs. Mike isn't the type to blindly cause a war, General. He's a good man. You're lucky to have him on your side. If he believes All-Til has something to do with what's happening in Earth, you need to listen to him instead of kissing up to the other side. Other side? You sound like him. This way of thinking has to stop. The truth is plain to see. They are our allies, not our enemies. See, that's where you and my husband differ on how you see things. Mike's always been very willing to share his thoughts on the matter. He believes that we kiss up to them out of fear. He believes that you're leading us down a wrong path, General. You fail to see just how vile All-Til is towards Altarians under their rule. People die, and You just smile and say they're our allies, so it's okay. Honestly, it's not just Mike who gets sickened by that. Katie's somewhat surprised at how frank she's being regarding the subject. This is a man she has hardly had any conversations with up to this point, and it's always been small talk and polite conversation. Kale rightly stands there for a moment and digests the tone with which Mike's wife is addressing him. Again, if it were his wife, she would respect a commanding officer. It is becoming clear to him that Mike does not rule the roost, and maybe Katie's the real problem in this matter. He leans against the wall and looks her in the eye. I understand you have great conviction in your belief, and so does Mike. I also understand you have the great need to see wrong things in the world made right. But there are things out of your control. You cannot decide who our allies are and are not by your personal opinion. Oh, you mean like you do? Pardon me? It's taking every ounce of Kale's strength not to trash this place and teach this woman a lesson in respect. I have sworn to protect the people of this world, and I do my best to make certain they feel safe and they live long and happy lives. Right, while Gora plots his own things and kills millions on All-Tilian Earth, you just turn a blind eye to all of it. If my husband says he believes All-Til's behind the attack on Earth, you need to see the threat that poses to us. How many worlds are left that All-Til is not either invading or trying to exterminate, General? Kale lowers his head. You don't have any clue what you're talking about. You're a housewife. You're not a warrior, not a military person. I'm forced to make tough decisions every day as leader, and nothing's ever black or white. As a housewife, your understanding in this matter would be limited. I don't know why you came here and thought insulting me would get you what you want here. It's baffling as it is sad. I'm ultimately left with little choice here. I'm going to have to take Mike off this assignment, and that could be unpleasant for him and as a result for you too. His career could be sidetracked, and then the two of you would flounder. Wow, and now you're threatening Mike. Kale looks out their window as rain starts to fall. If you won't go to him and convince him to stop the foolish mission he's on, this personal mission that has replaced the job I've told him to do, then I'll be forced to use any means necessary to bring him home. I will not allow him to drag us into a state of war with All-Til. It will not happen. Well, I'm not going to be part of your plan to continue this charade, she says sharply. She watches as General rightly heads for the door. He doesn't say anything further on his way out, and she doesn't bother to call after him. There's no point in doing so, and she knows it. She's better off saving her breath and dealing with this another way. There's always the emergency backup plan Mike had given her that seemed to be ages ago, but it was her only recourse now. She just hoped she could make a difference. Andrew's hands are still shaking as medics carry Trent out of the room on a stretcher. This is the next scene.
Got that.
This next scene. He would want a cigarette if they were permitted aboard a ship like this. As an illegal substance, they were not aboard the arcology, though they could be found on the planet below through unscrupulous means. It's really been a rough day for him, and it would be perfect. It should have been perfect, and his mind goes back and forth on these matters while press tries to get a word from him on the continued death aboard this orbiting kingdom. The vultures never are far away. He had refused comment until this point and would continue to do so. He had to show everyone now, especially with this personal crisis and loss, that life went on. His emotional turmoil won't cause him to make bad decisions. He would not show weakness, as his life would be defined from his reaction to this moment. Trent would want him to continue on and to make this arcology into something amazing. Since calling for help, he has been watched by a man he didn't particularly like. He understood this guy was special ops, but he should have something else to do rather than monitor him. Is there something I can do for you? Andrew asks as he leaves Trent's place, and the unwanted watcher follows him. The press are held back by Andrew's personal security, as per his order. Shut down level 48, Jenkins, Mike says sternly as they round a corner in the corridor. You can't tell me what to do. Your job here has nothing to do with a party I feel this place needs. I cannot bring anyone back. I wish I could. Trent was a good man, swallowed up by the negativity in this place. The mood in this place is becoming more and more toxic by the minute, and you're not helping by acting like a ghoul here. Let me do my job and you can do yours. There really is no reason for us to be speaking, Andrew says, poking Mike's chest with his finger. Do you have to be a complete douchebag about this? I'm telling you, by having a big get-together in level 48, you'll be killing more people. You might be gathering enough people there to wipe out a large percentage of the population inside this place in one big fell swoop. You're making it impossible for me to do my job, and that's why we're speaking. You're making it easier for whoever's behind this continued violence within the arcology. It thrills me every bit as much as it thrills you, Jenkins. I'd prefer if you don't use my name like that, Andrew says. Okay, how about Sir Majesty of Land Douchebag? Mike says, not willing to be intimidated here. Jenkins is fine, Andrew says, shaking his head. Look, Mike, You need to see the big picture here. I have a responsibility to these people as their new leader. Trent was a victim of rampant fear in this place. It's people like you who are spreading that fear, and I hardly think shutting down a party is a good idea. That will only deepen fears people have here. Mike motions to someone ahead of them, and Catherine blocks her path. I have someone I want you to meet, he says, standing in Andrew's way. Now what? A woman approaches. My name is Catherine, and I'm the sole survivor of arcology 443. The New Orleans population was larger than this one and had better leadership. It still got destroyed from within, and signs are all the same here. I am pleading with you, as someone who's already been through this hell once. Shut down whatever you're planning. It won't have the desired effect. I personally lost everything I cared about there, and I would hate to see it happen again. This party's a terrible idea. Andrew does his best to put on a sad face. At best, it's a sarcastic look he's giving her. So this is the heartstring tugging moment then, is it? As I've already said to Mike here, I have a job to do, and this is about preventing another massive crime scene. I already know the story of Arcology 443. Unlike Charles Woods, I actually want to know what's going on in the world, and I pay attention. What happened in your neck of the woods? Truly terrible. But no one tried to stop what happened once it started. I'm trying to change the course of things by bringing everyone's spirits up. Catherine looks over at Mike and shrugs her shoulders. It's like talking to a wall. Walls are more understanding than this, Mike says. True enough. Andrew steps around Mike and Catherine. I'm afraid I have no time right now. I have a level 48 get together to plan. Mike and Catherine watch Andrew storm off. Now what? Well, let's hope Ben finds a way to head this off with Donna, he answers. So is that enough?
No.
Okay. Ben strides into the main entrance for level 48 and points at the ceiling. There's cracks up there.
Is there?
Yeah, there's cracks up there. Who knows what's up there?
Different kind of places.
Well, I've got to punch it up. We got to get some views on these videos, so I'm going to start doing all kinds of stuff. There's cracks up there. We can't have this kind of get-together in a place like this. I hereby condemn this place in the name of safetyhood, Ben exclaims while looking a staff member in the eye. Okay, Mr. Woods, I had word you might come down here by the orders of Andrew Jenkins. You are not to be here, the man in a black suit says as he tries to lead Ben and Donna away from the designated party place. Donna steps in between the suited man and Ben. As commander of Section C Police, I demand the right to a full inspection of this area. I've heard complaints about its safety violations. Cannot be led away when these claims have yet to be verified. I can send a report to headquarters on Earth and everyone will be under the microscope. You'll be fired first. It's that whole scapegoat thing, Donna explains, doing her best not to sound upset. The man stops in his tracks and looks at the ceiling. Look, this place has never been used. I'm just doing a job I was commanded to. Having just opened, I have a hard time believing there's a safety issue that should cause it to be condemned. Their conversation is interrupted by a laser blast. The man in the suit drops to the floor, dead before he's even fallen to his knees. Both Ben and Donna dive out of the way and behind a ticket booth that offers very little, if any, protection from the weapon being used. Both Ben and Donna draw their weapons from their belts and are ready to use them. They give each other an uncertain glance. You can check and see if the coast is clear, Donna says. You get shot? Screw that, you check. Donna sighs. Wuss. She mutters as she slowly looks over the ticket booth and sees no one there waiting to shoot them. I don't see anyone. But it's dark in the corners of this bloody place. This is going to make watching this more difficult than we expected. Before they can debate it, a voice calls out to them. Mike Translow is among you. Tell him to return home. Tell him his presence here will only cause death and destruction. 443 was his fault. Ask him to check the state of Arcology 652. Have him check who was listed as being on that ship. If you want to survive, you must jettison him from your midst. The voice sounds wooden, emotionless, and cold in its tone, but menacing nonetheless. Donna dares to stand and no further shots ring out. She looks down at Ben and rolls her eyes. You can come out now, O great leader. Hey, I am a section leader, and we're becoming an endangered species, he reasons as he slowly gets to his feet, his weapon still ready to fire at any given moment. He then kicks the motionless body of the security team member. I guess this guy didn't have anything on him for self-defense. It's a sad state of affairs when I'm better armed than a crowd control worker. It's a sad state of affairs that you're armed, but we'll deal with it, Donna then crouches to look at the dead man and feels sick to her stomach. This man's insides were cooked. All-Tilian weapons, Ben says, shaking his head. Looks like Mike was right. At least we can rule him out as one of the crazies. That counts as a plus, right? Ben nods. I'll take almost anything as a plus right now. Let's talk to Mike, he says, and they run off of level 48, leaving the cooked man behind without even calling anyone to tend to his remains. There are bigger fish to fry. And that's the end.
No. No, you need to keep reading.
Okay. Sabel's almost literally bouncing off the walls. Notice I said almost. Almost literally, not actually bouncing off the walls.
almost literally, wouldn't it just be almost?
He's raging.
Okay, you could take out the word literally. That's just silliness. Almost literally.
No,
Then
I'll leave it in there.
not literally.
I'll leave it in there. He has witnessed what might have been the single most reckless act on board this arcology yet. He sprints down the service tunnel as best he can and soon sees his target straight ahead. His life is on the line here, and having one of his very own going on their own was enough to make his blood boil. When Rhett, R-E-T, Rhett, sees Sibel coming, he knows he's in trouble. Rhett's well aware of the dangers of what he's done, but he figured Sibel would be glad he was thinking outside the box. He tosses his weapons aside, raises his arms in surrender when Sibel closes in on him. Rhett and Sibel exchange their banter in their usual All-Tilian clicks, which never portray any emotion. The closest they get is when spoken rapidly, as they are in this case. Sibel, Commander, what did I do? You had the nerve to reveal yourself on level 48 and you ask me that question? I was never seen. You fired our weapon and cooked one. You didn't even cook the one who might have influenced Mike's decision. The sight was off, so I had to improvise a threat. I was aiming for Ben Woods. I apologize. You apologize? You do me and my career, but you apologize? We want Mike Translow gone, do we not? Rhett, you're not a child. We've been through many battles together, and we don't try to reason with the enemy. What I told you Gora had said to me was in confidence at this point. It didn't need to escalate further. Falteries will send someone to take Mike back home, and we just have to lay low until then. Rhett tilts his head to the side and tries to play on Sibel's sense of reason. But if we can turn the humans from Earth against Mike, we're the winners anyway. If we eliminate him, we can then gain better control of the situation. They will all die if we take him down. You said yourself Gora wanted Mike dead on sight. Killing Mike's a bad idea. We'll only engage the general population on Falteries. We just need to keep doing what we are without being seen, and we can emerge victorious. They will all die with or without his help. We need for him to get taken home as a coward, and failing that, I'll deal with him myself. It's not your place to deal with him. It's not your place to decide what's done with him. It's not your place to make any decisions at all. I'm the commander here, and it is me who Gora will judge when our task is done. Gora will see that I am the rightful second in command when things are done here. This is my crowning moment, and you will not ruin that, Sibel says, pointing a webbed finger at Rhett. I meant no disrespect. I believe that humans will pressure Mike to leave their midst. I also have a simple suggestion for tonight's apparent party in level 48. We know the humans are unguarded, and Mike Translow will be trying to get everyone on his side here. We also know that Andrew Jenkins does not believe a word Mike says. Get to the point, Sibel says, while resisting the urge to tear the reckless being limb from limb. He hopes his point is worth the restraint. Everyone who is and anyone will be there, so what if we hold off? Until when? The humans will be in an enclosed space, ripe for the pickings. We can't finish the task. We can finish our task and move on. Arcology 443 had a similar event. Anyone who survived that event was then suffocated with a vacuum of space in a moment. Among the carnage there, it is a fact easily lodged amidst sad feelings and pungent odors. All we need to do is wipe this place out, and then we can move on to Earth itself. Just imagine the humans on Falteries knowing we killed every last human on Earth. By the time we would admit this, it'd be too late for them. Rhett looks down at the floor. I know you believe your way is right, but I believe we will make Mike Translow look bad, have their society call him out, and then we move in for the kill after that. I may have taken a risk in my actions minutes ago, but what happens when nothing comes of that man being killed and humans' prints are found on the murder weapon? How did you manage that? Sibel asks as his eyes widen. He's suddenly very proud of his reckless officer. Rhett holds up a severed human hand. I've been saving this for a snack. Figured it might make a good piece for us to have, so I haven't devoured it as of yet. This human wasn't found after he killed himself, so it makes a perfect red herring, a rather delicious one at that. Sibel pats Rhett on the shoulder. I apologize for doubting you, Rhett. Let us further discuss how to deal with tonight's festivities. I believe we may both have a point here, and it's a matter of proper timing and distractions. A meeting that started with a confrontation, with the potential to turn lethal, had evolved into meaningful discussion. Gora would be sickened by his people having such a human conversation as this. They're warriors, and there are rules to be followed. Sibel apparently is playing by his own rulebook. Gora would have ruled this as treason, and had him killed. That's the end of that scene.
How long is the next?
Next scene is page and a half. Okay. All right. One more scene. And basically, according to the reports on these videos, I'm volunteering my time for these videos.
You're reading them to me. They just get the benefit.
I know, but what's the
Don't-
point?
You're reading them to me. I like you reading them.
No, you don't.
I do too.
Do not.
This is one of my favorite parts of the day. I am enjoying you reading me.
Okay.
The book.
Katie heads out the door and looks around to make sure her home isn't being watched. It isn't outside the realm of possibility that General Rightly would ever fall and spied upon. This is where I bring in my favorite character. I had held off my favorite character till over halfway into the book, and then I'm like, and now. She can only trust what she can see and sees nothing out of place as she heads for her vehicle. She wastes no time getting ready and flies to a secret location only known to herself and her husband Mike. It's the first time she made the journey by herself. Despite the fact that the people of Falteres live in harmony with nature, areas of pure nature are still hard to find. Many forests have canopies filled with walkways and tourist traps. Many lakes are the site of year-round boating, fishing, as well as water skiing. The sky itself is a playground for various craft much like her own. There are limits to how wonderfully in harmony with nature here people are, as it can be quite noisy and raucous in this area at times. In Mike's dealings with people who believed All-Til was not the ally others believed them to be, he had found many who agreed with him. Most of the people who agreed with him would never admit it publicly, though. It was considered career suicide to say anything negative about All-Til as an ally. Mike had served with these men and women in the service, and these people had all seen what All-Til was capable of and knew the day would come where they had to rise up, possibly against their own forces, to get things done. The emergency plan now involved Katie sending a signal out to people which called them to gather in the middle of nowhere, the first time they'd all been together like this. The one that stood out among the 100 or so military men was the blue-skinned humanoid with large eyes. He was a well-known and respected All-Tilian man. He patted Katie on the shoulder and in broken English said, "It must be important." He was still learning the language at this point. Katie smiled at the man and gave him a hug. "Dragston, it is good to have you here. Mike said the signal would reach you, that it was the only thing that could bring you out of hiding. This is about the arcology crisis, the one I know Mike discussed with you during one of his recent visits home." Dragston patted Katie on the shoulder and hugged her again. "I know, child, I understand what's happening." He then turns and addresses the troops who are present. "Mike has called us together. Mike wants us to work together. Life is giving us a chance to prove things are wrong in this galaxy. The press wants the truth. The people want the truth. People like Rightly want to suppress the truth. We cannot let it go on past today. Many of my people have died. My people have suffered through wars and now slavery. Mike saved me. Mike brought me here as he felt I could someday lead people to a bright future. Now they mean to bring Mike home. Rightly will be a coward, and if he wins, we all lose. If there is a time to fight, this is it." "What are you suggesting?" one officer asks. Dragston pauses, looks over at Katie, and looks down before he continues. "You see, they mean to send a squad through to arcology 1237. I have inside sources that tell me these things. If this happens, Mike comes home and everyone dies. I want All-Til to be punished. This only happens if you join with me now. Katie summoned us as a last resort. So we attack our own base," another officer says. "That's suicide. There are maybe 100 of us against thousands who man that base. It's mutiny." Dragston's wide eyes narrow. He searches for the right words to say to these men. Millions die every year, my friends. Millions, and nothing. Nothing is done to save them. We can save millions today. Mike can expose All-Til as a threat, and we become heroes. Heroes are not men or women who do things in the name of becoming heroes. They do things because they are the right things to do. I will rush the base alone if I have to. I would rather die now than watch hope die an hour from now. Katie interrupts. General Rightly's determined to make All-Till out to be our friends, and my husband will be made an example of. I'd be shocked if he wasn't killed there. I would also be shocked if they didn't pin the murders there on him and state it was an elaborate plan to frame All-Till. He was sent there by Rightly to do a job and now may get killed for doing it properly. He never went the way Rightly wanted him to when he was assumed to be when it was assumed to be viral in its origins. It sickens me to my core. Rightly's a coward. If you storm his portion of the base, you're far more likely to get somewhere and maybe buy Mike some time. All my husband needs is time here. I'm certain he will succeed, but not alone. The men talk amongst themselves, and Dradgen puts his arm around Katie. Mike has always talked about what a wonderful woman you are. He's right. He would be very, very proud of you if he saw you right now. Soon, this world and Earth will understand what All-Till is really about, and then we can start turning things around and righting that which is very, very wrong. And that's the end of that scene. Introducing Dradgen. Now, Dradgen originally was from a totally different planet. And when I redid the books, I thought I need to lower the number of planets. Originally, there were like about 20 different planets. I was like, yeah, we don't need to have 20 different planets. I don't need to have a whole...
Confusing.
So I made sure that I kept it small. And Altair originally was just... actually, it was an ally of All-Till. I had All-Till, Altair, and Asterain were the three evil planets. And then I had a bunch of other planets that were the good ones. And this time I went, no, I'm going to have one bad guy. They'll have enslaved Altarians. And we'll get into the ugly side of that in future installments. But Dradgen was a character I knew I had to have. And originally, I had him as being red-skinned, but I thought, well, wait, no, he can't have, like, crimson-colored skin when I already have the orange-colored skin for the All-Tilians. So then it just looks bonkers. So I thought, oh, I'll just make him like an aqua, dark blue kind of color, somewhere in that range. And yeah, he's my favorite character, so I'm glad he's in the book. He and Sharias Laris are my two favorite characters. And Sharias Laris is not in the book yet. So those are the ones that that was a name I made up where I was like, that's a pretty cool alien name, Sharias Laris. I like that a lot. So, all right, there you go. Another installment in the readings of Into the Void. And people can watch my insanity grow as the insanity of the book continues. And watch me read to my lovely wife here.
Who's already in pajamas.
Yeah, she's all ready for bed.
Now you get to see my sexy pajamas.
Yeah, it's sexy time. And I've got my Invader Zim shirt on, so don't be jealous of that either. Some Invader Zim, and and Gur.
My huge jersey sweatshirt.
Gur.
Yes.
Doom, doom, da doom. He sings the Doom song the whole way to Earth. Anyways, there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you that are still watching this series, it will continue. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And again, be safe. We're all in this together. And wash your hands. That's the best advice I can give. Be safe and wash your hands. This has now become part of my sign-off.
Stay away from other people.
Stay away from everybody. And especially, you need to be 6 feet over there. I even socially distanced from a spider tonight. And he was a nice spider. I liked him. Because he came over to me. He did, though.
And he tried to run back in the house.
Because he didn't like me putting him outside. He was like, but I got a new dad. I like spiders because they kill bugs. I do not like bugs. I hate bugs. So, to me, spiders are my friends. But I had to put him outside because...
No spiders.
Yeah, that's her thing. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And it means a ton. I will talk to you again soon.